Hello everyone, my name is Stanley St. Rose, and today we're going to be talking about Popular Mechanics written by Raymond Carver. Now, before I go into summary and analysis of this work, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or comment so that the channel can continue to grow. Now, this short story by Raymond Carver is very interesting. It's very sad. Basically, what happens is you get brought into the story, and the setting is very gloomy. We're told that outside the weather gets nasty. The snow is kind of turning nasty and muddy. And it's turning from brightness to darkness, and we're taken into this couple's home, and they're fighting. Now the man here, he's angry. He is shoving clothes into a suitcase, and the woman she's cursing and calling him names and saying all these types of things. We're not told why they're fighting. We're not told why they hate each other. I mean, just from basic reasoning, we can say maybe somebody cheated on somebody, or maybe I guess the woman, maybe she cheated on the man here. Um, he's clearly like the one that's leaving. So from my perspective, in terms of analysis, if he's this angry, if he's the one leaving, just by the reaction alone, it kind of feels like whatever happened. This is just an opinion based on the text. Um, Usually, when somebody is at fault, they're the ones that's more doing the like the party that's angry and feels wrong. They're more, you know they're not backing down. They're more like, why did you do this? Why did this happen? Why did you do this to me? So the way that the male is acting here, he's grabbing his stuff, he's packing, he's angry. um it kind of seems like maybe he feels like something happened where he was wronged. And the woman here, she's kind of saying, "Fine, leave. I'll be fine without you. Go ahead. Nobody wants you here anyway." It's kind of like that type of atmosphere. But again, that's just an opinion of how it's going on me just reading the emotions that's depicted on the page here. Raymond Carver doesn't tell us why they're fighting, who's at fault, why this or that is happening. It's just that this relationship is over, and the man is leaving. And there's a lot of chaos here. There's a flower pot that gets knocked over. There's a baby picture, and the woman takes the baby picture. And after them, the man is like looking around the apartment, grabbing all his stuff and doing all this and that and the third. Very angrily when people are angry and shoving things into a bag, and stomping around in a home, and just grabbing things that he thinks is his, and all this types. And like the woman is like following him and scolding him, and saying, "Fine, leave, we don't care," or "I don't care," whatever. So it's that common breakup, really bad breakup scene. And then it gets worse, and this whole short story is this descent into darkness. So we start outside, where the brightness is going towards darkness, and clean water or snow is always regarded, or fresh snow, falling snow is always regarded as clean and pure. But when it starts to turn and get nasty and get dirty and turns into that brown, slushy, gushy, mushy, nasty snow, I mean, personally, that's something I really hate to see on the sidewalk or on the street during the winter time, when the snow gets really nasty and brown and slushy. It's like, ugh. And that's what is happening in this short story, where we start outside and we go inside, and it's getting worse, and it's building up, it's getting nasty and nasty. And basically what happens next, we learn that this couple has a baby together. The man says, "I'm going to take the baby." And the woman's like, "No, you're not." And they get into an argument, and this is just, it's going crazy. and they're fighting, and now the woman is like, "You're not touching this baby," and he's like, "Of course I'm taking the baby." And they're fighting and fighting and fighting, and now the man, since he's stronger here, he's gonna apply his physical strength and trying to pry her fingers loose from the baby. He's grabbing on to the baby, and you could imagine, babies are babies. They're gonna be screaming and crying and wailing, but the parents they hate each other. They despise each other, and you as the reader, you're like, oh man, please don't let anything happen to this baby. Don't hurt the baby. And they're so filled with anger and hatred, and whatever they're arguing about, whatever they're separating over, it's so bad or so toxic that they don't care about the baby. They just want to hurt each other. They just want revenge and to like fight with each other. That now this, you can imagine, this baby has these adult hands grabbing it, tugging at it, pulling at it, pulling the baby's arms and the baby's legs and grabbing it and grabbing its skin, and this is just turning dark, and all of this is happening. It seems like they're in total darkness doing this, and the flower, of course, the pot gets knocked over, and we get this really intense scene of the man, prying the woman's fingers loose, and he's using his male strength, and she's grappling, and they're grappling, and they're pulling and pulling and pulling, and it's just a dark scene, and it's getting worse and worse. And ultimately, one grabs the baby one way, and another grabs the baby another way, and the story just basically ends. One pulled this way hard, and one pulled this way hard, and the matter was decided, and that's how the short story ends. And by the clues that this is a baby, it's crying, it's wailing, it's being like it's feeling the pain. And if two grown people grab one arm of a baby and another grab another side of the baby, and they both pull in opposite directions, you can imagine that, the baby was definitely hurt. And if it wasn't hurt, it's definitely has some type of injury. But the way that it's hurt, the way that's written, because it's like in this, this is how the way that it's decided. That's the last line, and that pretty much tells us that this baby definitely, at the minimum, it got hurt, and at the maximum, it pretty much died. There's enough. Raymond Carver here doesn't tell us straightforward that it's dead. We can definitely determine that it's hurt. And the sad part would be there's it's just the way that it ends. You can't say with 100% certainty that the baby died, but there isn't enough to say that it possibly died, but it definitely got hurt. And the way that this in this it was decided, what's decided, I mean, is it that nobody gets the baby because the way it's dead? Maybe that's the answer there. Because if the issue is decided, then a decision is made between which parent keeps the baby. So you could say that there is enough evidence to say that the baby died. But again, there's no clean and clear statement that states that, but we can definitely assume that it's injured. So it's a really tough story. In terms of analysis, in terms of deeper meaning, this says a lot about separation, how parents who are separating can affect children. When parents are divorcing, emotions get high, issues in the court can get emotional, because when it comes to a divorce, well, this is not specifically talking about a divorce, but when it comes to parents and separation, children are often affected heavily, especially in the case of this baby. And oftentimes parents are so tied up in their emotions and their feelings of what happened or who's hurt or whose stuff is being taken. The children are often just used as bargaining chips or as objects. As, I'm going to take the children, or no, I'm going to take the children, or it has nothing to do with what's best for the children. It's more like, I want to hurt you. Because a lot of times in these separation things, in these couples, when couples separate, they're not thinking about their children clearly. They're thinking about, well, how can I hurt this person? And it's hard. I mean, it's really hard. And kids often get hurt in terms of when their parents are separating, because you can't be logical. You can't be reasonable. Because, yes, you're trying to think about your kids, but at the same time, you're really just there's definitely a part of you, or in couples, where it's not just reason or or fairness. It's There's always going to be a sense of, I want to get revenge, or I want to hurt my partner who I'm separating from or who I'm angry at. So children are definitely affected when it comes to separation. Another point that's so children, the effect that separation or parents separating or divorce has on children, you can see that point being raised in this short story. Another point that's raised in this short story is how just how toxic and deadly, and how chaos can pretty much be a part of separation when it comes to couples. Because when couples separates, it is chaos, and it can be violent and deadly and dark, and it does go from being light, something that's bright and beautiful, to something that's brown and mushy and nasty, like how snow is first pretty and pure and wonderful, and it turns to mushy brownness. You can see how this probably was a lovely couple. They have a picture of their baby together. They have flower pots. It seems like they had a nice and cozy home, but because of whatever happened between them two, the two parents here, it turns into chaos. So chaos often pursues separation and argument. It is a dissension, and from the light to darkness when you're talking about divorce and separation in children. So really sad. You can imagine that this also, now you're going to have to bring all types of institutions, although the story doesn't go that far into it, but you could see how this even affects society, because you're going to have to bring all types of institutions into this now, because, well, the baby's possibly dead. So who's at fault? What's going to happen? It's just a very dark thing. So that's what you get with this story. It's shocking. It's nasty. It is, it says a lot about society, relationships, and how romance can be something that's very beautiful, because it can produce children, it can produce life, but at the same time, it can be very dark if you let it get there. So it's a thing that we all want, that romance, and it's something that's a part of human society that can create beautiful things like children. That's what being a couple can create: a beautiful home, a cozy home. But once that beauty is left, once there's no togetherness and there's no connection, it can create utter chaos, separation, tug of war, division, and death. So yeah. Separation brings about death. That's a chilling revelation right there. So that's all that I had to say about that. Please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or comment. And I'll see you guys in the next video.